Hello and welcome back to my MS journey. Well, today on the show, I think there's only really one place to start, which is talking about my treatment. I had my treatment. It was on Tuesday of this week. Um, I'm gonna be honest, that's 6 months and I've flown by. It really, really has. But yeah, I mean, we're back again with the treatment, starting of my second year now on Ocrevus. In all fairness, it really has flown by. It's got to the point where I knew I was needing the treatment. I knew it was coming up. My body was getting to a point where, to be honest, it was telling me it's ready to go. I was seeing quite a big increase in issues that I've got in terms of pains coming up. I've had quite a bit of an increase. I'm going to be honest, quite a bit of an increase in terms of balance. My balance has not been very good. It's been on and off struggling to stay on my feet at times, if I'm totally honest. Um, so yeah, I'll be honest. I knew it was time. My body knew it was time. So MRI scan did get completed. That got done, thankfully. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. The blood test results came back. Blood test results were absolutely fine, except apparently I'm quite low on vitamin D. For me, that's an excuse to just go out in the sun. So if winter wants to sort of go away and bring on a decent summer, that's good. I'll take that because let's be totally fair. I'm a summer person. I love the summer. I love sunshine. So some natural vitamin D will do me quite nicely. But apart from that, everything was absolute fine and we was good to go. So again, Tuesday morning it was a very very early get up. My treatment was due to start at 8:30 in the morning, so I had to get across. It's about a 45-minute drive, give or take. Obviously, I don't drive, so my dad took me. Bless him. Um, we got there. We got there, and I'm going to do a bit of a conversation about how the treatment actually went, what happened before, what happened after that sort of thing. Because in all fairness, I think it's quite important to talk about that type of thing. Because let's be fair, I knew nothing about what to expect when this all started with myself and the treatment was initially planned in. So I think talking about that, it could help. It could be quite beneficial to some. So when I got into the room, uh, one of the biggest things that has to be done is listening to your breathing. So I got sat down, my breathing got listened to. It became quite apparent pretty quickly that there was a bit of an issue, not with my breathing, nothing like that. That was all perfectly fine. Blood pressure check come back, that was okay. Um, but I've had a lump on my back since I was a kid. Genuinely, since I was a teenager, this lump's been there. And the MS nurse, obviously, while she's checking the breathing, she had to have my shirt up. So she's seen this lump on my back. And she said she's noticed it previously, but never to the same extent. It looked bigger. So they called a doctor in who had to have a look because, again, let's be totally honest, on a treatment like Ocrevus, you've got to be careful. You've got to be careful because there is potential side effects that are quite. I'm going to use the word frightening, but I don't mean that to come across in the terms of scaring anyone because at the end of the day, there's always potential side effects no matter what treatment you're on. Um, and there is no guarantees that that's going to happen. It's all just in case. But the doctor came, he's checked the lump on my back. I've got one on my stomach, I've got a couple on my arm and whatever else. It's just fatty tissue. Let's be totally honest. It's just fatty tissue. But The doctor had to come. He had to check it. It's better safe than sorry. Um, he's had a look and he said, "Do you know what? He thinks it's fine. He doesn't think it's anything serious. So treatment could commence." Now, what they have done is referred me to dermatology to get the lump checked properly. As I say, they do not suspect anything nefarious. It's probably the best word I can use. They don't expect anything like that. It is expected that it's just fatty tissue. The amount of time it's been on my body and it's never been an issue. It's just a case of because it looked a bit bigger, it's got to be checked. Sensible, not a problem. But that done, we managed to get everything started. They put the antihistamine through me, steroid, all that sort of stuff. And we got going on the actual treatment itself. Now, for me, pretty standard is 6 hours. Start to finish, about 6 hours. Which, I'll be fair, is a long day. It's a really, really long day. You're sitting in one room, you've got a drip in your arm, a cannula, that sort of thing, and you can move your arm. Let's be fair. I mean, I'm lucky because it was in my hand. I had movement of my arm, but I tend to try and stay as still as possible, purely and simply because what I don't want to do is I don't want to start moving around and the alarm starts sounding because the drip's not getting through properly. So I try as much as I can to sit as still as possible and whatever else. So we got going, we got cracking, and I'll be totally fair. I am lucky when it comes to treatment because the MS team, the infusion team are brilliant. I'll be honest, they're very, very friendly, very polite, have a good chat. They're just nice people. And again, it helps that other MSs that come in for their treatment, they sit there and we have a chat, we have a natter, and just, for want of a better term, just chew the fat for a little while, just have a conversation, see how everyone's doing, and try and have a laugh when we can have a laugh and whatever else. So, again, that all happened. It was brilliant. I'll be totally fair. As much as you shouldn't enjoy a day like that, it's relatively enjoyable. Relatively. But yeah, I mean, once the initial drip had gone through, we then started on the Ocrevus, and again, I sort of have this bit of an issue that seems to come up where part way through, I'll have a little reaction to it, and it is only a little reaction. Don't get me wrong; it's nothing major. It is nothing major. Anyone that's seen me on my social media or on my YouTube channel, anything like that, will see that I don't have a lot of hair. Personal choice. It's easier of a morning. But it also makes it easier, I'm going to be fair, when this treatment's going on, I tend to get a little bit of a rash on the top and at the sides of my head. And that happened again. It happened again. So they just sort of slowed the drip down a little bit, didn't increase the speed, give my body a chance to try and overcome it, which it did. As quick as it started, it stopped. Nothing major, nothing to be frightened of with that at all. It is just a case of your body saying, "Hang on, that's not supposed to be going in there. Let's try and fight back a little bit." But yeah, it sorted itself out and managed to right itself, which was nice. But again, with regards to that, it's one of those things whereby, from my point of view, at least then I can feel it's doing something. I'll be honest, I actually don't mind that reaction. I'll be honest, I don't mind it because I can feel that it's doing what it's supposed to do, if that makes any sense at all. It's a bit of a weird thing to say. Believe me, I understand that, but it just makes that little bit of sense. But yeah, once that was done, we got to the end of the Ocrevus, and then they flush through, which again doesn't take long at all. Not a problem at all. all in all, I'm going to be totally fair. The treatment itself for me, it goes quite smoothly. At this point, I've got wood in front of me. I've got my wooden desk. I'm touching wood just to make sure that that continues that manner. I am not trying to tempt fate. Wooden desk, wooden desk, so everyone can see it. It's out there for the whole world. Wooden desk. There we go. Um, but anyway, yeah, I mean, it tends to go quite well. Now, when it was all said and done, and I'm going to be totally honest, for me personally, I do find the day it goes relatively quickly. As I say, you've got three parts to the treatment itself. You know, you've got part one, which is where you have your steroids, your antihistamine put through you. You have the Ocrevus as part two, and then you have the flush as part three, which is fine. You know, perfectly fine. It all makes the treatment what it is. But it's also one of those where actually you know things are being done properly and you're aware what's going on, why it's going on, and how it's going on. And this is the whole point. Like I say, I'm very, very lucky. Being as the drip was in my hand this time, I had a bit of movement. Like I say, I do try my best to stay still. I want to be a good boy. I mean, tea, coffee, biscuits. There's all that stuff that's available to you when you sat there. When I go for my treatment, tea, coffee, biscuits. You want them? Not a problem. Right there for you. Not a problem at all. Now, one of the big things I will say, if you're due to start treatment, take some entertainment with you. Take something with you that you can use to keep yourself going. Because as I say, I am lucky. I've got the art of conversation that I can have. It's not always available to everyone, and it is a long day. It is very much a long day. You know, you sat down in a chair for many hours. And again, I can only talk Ocrevus because it's the only treatment I've had, and it's the only treatment available to me. Um, but you're sat, you need to keep your brain ticking over a little bit. Now, I broke my laptop screen, so I couldn't take my laptop with me, but I had my phone with me, and I even took a book. And I did. I sat, read some of my book. It was brilliant. Um, I'll be totally straight. I actually got through a lot more of it than I thought I would. And again, it just passed the time. It made things that little bit easier, made it a bit more simple, made me feel as though everything was, again, for want of a better term, as it should be. Uh, because, again, with the other people that are in the room with me, being on Ocrevus, I have to have a nurse with me at all times. Um, but there's other MSs in there having other treatments, not Ocrevus. So they're in and out, which is nice because you're not sat there a whole time talking to one person. Because I reckon they'd get bored with me more than anything else. I would. I'd get bored with me. But it's the sort of thing that can make for an interesting day. But again, you need to take entertainment with you. You need to take something with you that can help pass the time or sleep. Highly recommend sleeping. I'm not guaranteeing, but I think there might have been a couple of occasions I might have dropped off. Not certain, not for long, but there may have been the odd minute or two here and there. Yeah, it's very, very possible. But anyway, so again, that was the chair. It's the treatment day itself, if all goes well, can be, I'm going to use the word comfortable, um, but it isn't always going to be in that manner. Let's be totally fair. Um, but again, it's one of those that's got to be done. It's got to be done. Now, the other thing I do want to talk very briefly about in terms of treatment is something that I'll be honest with you is quite important to me personally. And doing what I do on social media and whatever else, something that gets talked about quite a bit is miracle cures for MS. There is no such thing. There just isn't. There is no such thing. Now, people talk about like the HSCT treatment. It's not a cure, it's a treatment. And it will work for some, it won't work for others. One of my most one of my biggest annoyances is when it's said about parasite cleanses to cure MS. Talking about how MS is a parasite. It's not. It just isn't. That's a lie. If anyone tells you that, they don't know what they're talking about. They're not this miracle doctor. They haven't got this doctor that has cured them all of a sudden of multiple sclerosis. No, 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 no. No, they're lying. Or they know somebody with relapsing remitting MS, and at the current time, that person is in remission. Now, let's be totally fair. Just because somebody's in remission does not mean they're going to have no symptoms. It's very likely they will have, but there are people that won't. It's the joy of the condition being so different for each and every person. But it is very much a case of when people tell you these stories, they are lying to you, or they are just not aware of what they're talking about. And it is quite dangerous. I'm going to be fair, it is quite dangerous because not enough is known about MS in the first place. It needs to be talked about more worldwide. Knowledge needs to be increased, which again is why I do what I do. And I am not the font of all knowledge. Absolutely not a chance. In fact, to say I've probably got less than a 2% knowledge of MS, even that's probably overstretching it a bit. I only can talk about what I deal with in terms of the condition because I'm not a medical practitioner. I'm not a doctor. I'm never going to be. I'm just a fella that has been chosen by this condition to share a life together. Appreciate it. Honestly, I no, I really, yeah, no, I don't appreciate it. In fact, MS can take a walk. It's probably about the fairest way I can say it. Let's be honest. But anyway, back to the treatment aspect. It is very much a case of, for my point of view, I'm hoping the treatment can do what it needs to do, and that's just slow the progression. Because that is all the treatment does. It slows the progression. Doesn't do anything else. It just does that one thing. Just saying that again, it just slows progression. Now, again, I'm on Ocrevus. It's the only treatment available to me. There is no other, from what I'm told. It's that or nothing. But there is plenty of other treatments. I won't talk about them. I've got no experience of them. I've got friends that are on them, and they are fantastic at what they talk about with regards to it. Now, I think we've done enough in terms of my treatment, except there's one more part I've got to talk about, and this is quite funny. I'm going to be honest, this is quite funny. Tuesday evening, I'm at home after treatment. The tired aspect has kind of weaned itself away just a little tiny bit. Oh, wow, I got hyper. We're sat eating dinner, and I kept beeping Lisa's nose, just sort of, just gently, just going, boop. Um, she's laughing, the kids are laughing. I just couldn't help it. I just was so hyper, it was unreal. I can only imagine maybe it was the steroids, I don't know. But genuinely, I was in the most giggly, funny mood ever. It was brilliant. I really did enjoy it. I'm going to be fair, it was great. I couldn't stop myself giggling. And I'll take that. I'll take that quite happily because let's be fair, you go through that treatment. If you can come out the end of it at the end of the day with a smile on your face and laughing and joking, yeah, that's good. It's just the way forward. It's for me that's what I like. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to put that one out there. You know, it's rude not to. Rude not to. The next thing I want to talk about is the kind of things that I've been dealing with in the last couple of weeks, um, and some of them have been quite difficult. I'm going to be fair; some of them really have been quite difficult. I've been getting a lot of pain when I'm doing things. Now, it doesn't matter what I'm doing; it could be the most minimal thing in the world. As a for instance, yesterday I came out in the garden, and as I've mentioned previously in previous shows, I love gardening. It's only really been since being diagnosed with MS that I've got into it, but I love gardening. Now, I bought some bulbs a few weeks ago for some flowers that I wanted to plant, but they weren't due to be planted until now. And I sat on the grass, and just with a little trowel, and nothing major, not with a fork, not with a spade, nothing, just with a little trowel, little hand trowel, just dug the holes to plant the bulbs in. Now, I've got to be honest, fatigue recently has been kicking my bum something rotten. It really, really has. And it really grabbed hold of me. Really grabbed hold of me. And again, this sort of comes back to the last couple of weeks. I've been dealing with fatigue quite a lot on top of pains. Now, it was very much a case I probably did 5 minutes work. It probably wasn't even that, if I'm honest. Probably 5 minutes work. And I came back in the house and I was out like a light. I'm going to be totally honest. I mean, I was completely spark out on the sofa, sleeping. I slept for hours. I'm going to be totally fair. I slept for hours. Our Lisa and the kids didn't, I don't know, write stuff all over me because I would have done. I'm going to be fair. I would have done. But yeah, I mean, I was completely out like a light. And again, it's fatigue. You know, fatigue has grabbed hold of me something rotten lately. And even last night, I mean, I slept like a log. It was ridiculous because I, tiredness doesn't quite marry up. It's not tiredness. I was completely and totally fatigued. And it was only till this morning that I still feel mm, a bit ropey now, but nothing major. But it was very much just the tiniest amount of work being done. It exhausted me, absolutely exhausted me, which I need to find a way around it. I do need to find a way around it. And I'm wondering, after being told after the blood tests that my Vit D level is low, my Vit D level is 23, which apparently 20 is considered very low. So I'm only just above that. So I'm hoping by taking some Vit D tablets, which I have gone and got, although I do need the doctors to look into that because you can only buy a certain amount over the counter. And according to the pharmacist, I'm probably going to need significantly more than I'm able to buy over the counter. But hopefully, when the Vit D level creeps up a little bit, hopefully my energy will also do so. Because again, Vit D does, to an extent, it does determine energy levels and things. But again, that's just one of the many things I've been going through recently. Pains in my legs. Pains in my legs have been absolutely awful. I'm going to be honest with you at times. I mean, for instance, coming down the stairs a little while ago, I went indoors to go and get a wire to plug my soundboard into my laptop so I can record this episode. And as I'm coming down the stairs, even the smallest amount of pressure on my right foot, it felt like I twisted my ankle. Very nearly made me fall down the stairs. I'm going to be honest. Lisa actually heard me yelp because it really did hurt. quite a lot. There's no ifs, buts, and maybes. It really was quite painful. Um, but again, I'm having quite a few twitches in my legs as well. I'll just be sat and my legs are just shaking or twitching. It's becoming quite regular. And again, I'm wondering if that was the build up to needing the next treatment. Might be not. I am making no promises either way on that one. Time will tell. Um, but again, it's that sort of thing. I've had that stuff going on. In terms of the hug, the MS hug, yeah, my hug has been absolutely awful. I'm going to be totally straight. I mean, it feels like I've got a python around me and just squeezing and squeezing and squeezing. At the moment, my MS hug is it's about the worst it's ever actually been. I'm going to be fair. Even to the point, if I try and take a deep breath, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. It feels um, too restricted in and around the rib cage area. So again, I'm monitoring it. I'll keep an eye on it because again, I've got to see what happens now. I've had that treatment as to is it going to start sort of slowing things down a little bit? Is it that I don't know. I don't know. Again, it could well be because I've to an extent taken myself off painkillers. I do take a painkiller. I won't name that on here. I believe I have previously, but I take it just before bed, which helps me sleep when it kicks in, which is nice. Because again, coming back round again, uh, one of the things I've been dealing with is when I'm laying down at night in bed, my legs don't want to stay still. It's like they want to go running in the middle of the night. It's as if they don't remember I actually can't go running. But that's my legs and my body for you. But again, it's the sort of thing that I'm dealing with currently, which I'm kind of getting a little bit used to. I'll be fair, I'm getting a little bit used to. It's not nice. I'd be honest with you. I could do with it sort of taking a back seat for a while, but it's not going to happen. We know that. We know it's not going to happen. But it would be nice. Again, the one thing I'll be honest with you, and I'm going to be totally fair here. The one thing I'm really waiting for is the results from my MRI scan because actually I'm massively interested and intrigued to know what is potentially going on. Is there anything new? What's going on in terms of progression? Is there any progression? What are my current lesions looking like? Just just something. That's all I'm waiting for. I just want something to look at and say, let's try not knocking into me boom arm. Just something to look at and say, right, okay, this is what's going on. I can understand why X, Y, or Z things are going and happening. I do keep hitting my wires and stuff. I've got to try and figure out a new way of sorting my wires out. The boom arm's great, I'm going to be honest. It really does make things so much easier. But there's other bits I've got to learn. Anyway, again, from the point of view of the things going on, memory issues, and I'm going to say this, the memory issues at times are actually really, really upsetting at the moment. I'm forgetting stuff that is not necessary to forget. So that's another reason I want to have a look. Because again, the lesions on my brain, is there anything going on? There is a brain in there. I know that. I've seen it. I've literally seen the results of the MRI scan previous that proved there's a brain. I'm quite amazed and a little bit proud to know that exists and it's not a little mouse running around in its little wheel. But either way, that's probably enough in terms of talking about the things I've got going on. There is a few more, but we can do that another week, can't we? We really can. What I want to talk about now is I want to talk a little bit positively. I want to explain what the story is in terms of this show and the company, the hosting site I use, which is rss.com. And I'm going to be honest with you, the opportunity has come up for me to be an affiliate for them. And I'm going to be totally honest, I'm actually proud to do that for the simple reason I am somebody with no knowledge, zero knowledge at all, nothing technical about me in the slightest. From moment one using rss.com, I was able to create a podcast and put it out to the world with zero knowledge. Zero knowledge. And for me personally, I think it's helped me in terms of my mental health. I think it's helped others listening to me being able to talk the way I do. And I've had messages on my website and whatever else. That wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for the fact it was so easy to use this website. It has been easy. Every week it's easy. I record a show, I upload a show. Uh, the transcript is always bang on, and I don't do the transcript. That's done by rss.com. They do it all, and I don't have an issue. Genuinely, it's something I really do strongly suggest. If you've got time and you have something you want to talk about. Now, I'm not saying it's got to be MS. I'm really not. If you've got something, it don't matter what it is, if you've got something you want to talk about, you can create a podcast very easily. And that podcast can go out on all different hosting sites, networks, and whatever else. You know, there's a simple little thing on this one whereby you can get it onto your Amazons, your Deezers, your Spotify's, your Apples. All of that sort of stuff is done at the click of a button. It's easy. And trust me, if I can do it, it's pretty easy to do because, yeah, honestly, my technical skills are, they leave a lot to be desired. And that's an understatement. I'll be totally fair. And again, I mean, you can even do it so it goes straight on YouTube. Result or what? Again, the opportunity is there. And for me personally, and again, I'm into my second season now. I've done 60 odd shows. It just shows if you want to do this stuff, there is ways of doing it. It can happen. It can happen. Coming away from that, again, talking positive. The weather's changing. It's getting a bit warmer. I'm going to be totally fair. I'm sat out in my studio now, and I had to turn the heating off hours ago because the heat coming in from the sun outside, it was warm in here. It was genuinely warm. To stop the sun coming in, I've actually closed my blind, which is just to the right-hand side of me now, because of how warm it is. So again, I'm going to be getting on the gardening again now. We're hoping to have a barbecue soon, which would be nice because, again, I love a barbecue. It means I'm being able to get out a bit more on my scooter, which, again, for me is a big thing. It's a positive thing because I love going out and about. I love that opportunity to be individual, um, if that makes sense. If people are busy, if family members are busy or whatever, if I can get out on my own, that's the sort of thing that puts a smile on my face. I enjoy it. I love doing it. There's lots of things going on that I'm very, very positive about. I've mentioned it previously on TikTok. Got the MS Roundtable chat that me and a couple of friends do. It's fantastic. Do you know what? It's so much fun. We chat away, we talk serious, but we also have fun. Real, genuine fun. And it's helping people. You know, we get messages afterwards where people saying to us, "Thank you. You've helped. You know, we've answered questions. We've given that little bit of support." It's the sort of thing. It's the reason it's been created, and it is well worth it. It is genuinely well worth it. The gaming stuff I'm doing, I'm gonna be fair. It's taking a while for it to get off the ground, but I feel as though it will. It will get there eventually. Fingers crossed. So again, there's all of this stuff, all of this positive stuff. MS takes a lot away from us. It really does. It takes a lot away from us. We can take back. We can take back. And okay, we might have to change our life a little bit in the way we do things, but we can be positive, we can be happy, and we can, for want of a better term, stick two fingers up to the condition and say, my life, not yours. I'll live it my way. Again, that's just my thoughts on it, but it's the way I like to think about it. Well, I'm going to call that a day for this show. I'll be honest with you, I've really enjoyed sitting here recording this one. If you've got any questions in terms of the treatment aspect or whatever else, again, I won't talk medically, but I will talk the practical ways of things. If you've got questions, go to my website, mikesmsjourney.com. mikesmsjourney.com. There is an email button there. Ping me over an email, and I will try and get back in touch and see if I can offer any help or advice. Again, we got this. We can do this. Have a good week, and I will speak to you real soon. Bye bye.